All right. Hello, 3MinMax fans. Welcome to our final, well, this isn't really the final episode. I did a final episode, and it'll be going live in 30 minutes. It's not, you're not really going to learn anything other than some parting words, but welcome. Glad to have you here. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever on the planet you are. I'm pretty sure that my boy Vinny is out there from the East Coast. I'm sure Memphis and Scurvy are watching, or they better be, and looking after that lady. We got Eric Zimmerman here today, guest star. Do you know what it's like to get Eric Zimmerman in one place at any given time? Hi, Eric.
Hi. Hey, well, don't minimize how much stuff you've done with this your project here. How many episodes are you going to have after you release the one today? It's not like 7.
It'll be an even 200.
That's insane. And just so everybody has an appreciation for how much time that is, it's not 3 minutes times 200, because that's all that you see. Kevin, just explain a little bit for that 3 minutes that people see, just how much work goes into that while we have people joining and we have some questions come in.
Well, it takes roughly about an hour per episode is a good guideline. We have, there's some that are fairly simple. If it's just me talking and we're not doing a demonstration, then obviously that goes a little quicker. And there's just a little bit of editing, character generator, throw some stuff on the screen. But on anything where you see a cutaway to a demonstration, and I'm talking over a live demo, you're looking a pretty good hour per episode. And that's if everything goes right. And I think people, when they see it, they don't realize what's going into it. I mean, obviously, with a lot of the forensics demos I did, I used a lot of your tools, Eric. And even for as great as these tools are, it's still, if I don't hit a switch right, or if Cape doesn't run a command the way I thought it would, yeah, that goes in the garbage and I got to start all over again. And it's, the hard part was trying to keep a lot of these episodes under 3 minutes. And that's why for anybody that's been watching, that they're actually more like 3:15, 3:20 most of the time.
Yeah, and that's the perils of doing live demos. You never quite know what's going to happen
Absolutely.
when you start running it. So what else you've been going on with? I know we've got some upcoming edits and revisions, and we're constantly working on 4.498 and new stuff in there as well. I know we had talked, a couple times over the past week or two about staging new things, and what are some of the tweaks and stuff that we're looking at adding in here for the next revision?
Well, I think one of the biggest things, obviously we've always got our corrections and our updates and new things that are coming out. I think the biggest thing that's on its way in the next revision, we were delivering 2 virtual machines. We had the Windows machine and the Linux machine. And the only reason we had the Linux virtual machine was for an exercise that allowed us to take an evidence file, an E01, and boot it as though we were the user sitting in front of their computer. And there was a lot of overhead with that, because essentially we had to run 2 VMs. And when the student opened up the Linux VM, they were starting up another VM inside that VM. Mm-hmm. And so now with some tweaking with Arsenal Image Mounter, and I'm very happy to say, and I don't get to do this very often, I get to be almost like a little Eric Zimmerman, but hardly at all. I don't program anything, but as far as I know, I was the first person to discover that you could run Arsenal Image Mounter to mount VMs inside another virtual machine. And I know Mark Spencer was pretty excited when I showed him that. So yeah, totally, I'm going to run with that credit. But because of that, we have been able to completely get rid of that Linux VM, and we're going to be distributing trial licenses for Arsenal Image Mounter, and everything's going to be contained inside that one image, that one VM. And the process is so much slicker and so much easier. So that is one big thing. I am exploring introducing a couple of different tools. Of course, you know what they are, but I don't want to say their names here yet because we don't know how they're going to flush out. But big names in, shall we say, decryption and ways to open up things that we can't open up right now. I'm putting some stuff through its paces, but those are kind of the big things that are going to come in this next iteration.
Now, one of the things that work has been being done on, and one of my tools, SQL eCMD, when that was written quite a while ago, and then it kind of just was out there, and then Andrew Rathbun picked it up and has started to just add dozens of maps to SQL eCMD, and so I think that might be another thing that we look at adding from a triage perspective, which is one of the pillars of 498, the ability to target data, get it out, and make sense of it quickly. So much data, even on the Windows side anymore, seems to be ending up in SQLite databases. Mobile forensics, it's the same thing. And so SQL eCMD is basically a command line tool that can find those databases and extract out normalized things. And so that might be another good layer that we can add in here, even if we end up making it optional or an out-of-class exercise, to give you, the people taking this course and just in general, the ability to quickly triage and find this data that's relevant to you when you have a time limitation, which is kind of the whole goal here. How do you become more efficient with your time so that you can move more things through your pipeline? Now, if there is no time pressure and you have just a normal investigation, well, that's one thing, but it's not like you're getting less work, more data, more cases, more equipment. You've got to come up with ways to kind of streamline and push more stuff through. This is one of those ways that you're going to be able to do that. And we attack it from multiple angles. So it's not just mobile, it's not just Apple, it's not just Windows. We don't know what you're going to get any more than you do. And so we really want to try and have multiple ways to do all of those different things so that you are equipped to bring whatever the most relevant tool to the table is to be able to solve that particular problem. So I'm looking forward to the new stuff as well, which is it's another nice thing having two people on a course, because Kevin brings significant experience in areas that I just don't really deal with too much. I can dabble, but he has an entirely different depth in certain skills, and I complement a lot of the other side, where he can do some of the things that I can do, but not to that same level. So bringing both of those types of approaches, you can kind of spin it around a little bit and attack it from whatever angle that you want. So yeah, looking forward to seeing the new stuff and getting it out there for everybody.
And another thing that I kind of want to bring up that we're just coming up on the first delivery of this new course for 498 is essentially two classes in one. There's the acquisition side from anything, and then there's the quick wins, or what we coined battlefield forensics, on the other. And the idea behind that was from seizure or collection to actionable intelligence in 90 minutes or less. And much of that coincided with your release of CAPE. And I remember thinking because we were in the middle of writing the class when you released that. And I remember thinking at the time when you released that, we're going to have to change our tagline from 90 minutes or less to from 10 minutes or less, because it revolutionized everything that we do. And I know I'm kind of going off track a little bit here, but this past weekend specifically, I was tasked with an investigation, and last week, Thursday and Friday, I did the collection, and thinking that I had a normal time frame to do a forensic exam. Saturday morning, my email is blowing up. The lawyers are going sideways. They need a response by Monday. I've got 2 hard drives and a thumb drive that need analysis. And I've got a weekend that I want to spend with my little boy. I fired it up and I told CAPE to go and get the items that were relevant to the case at hand and process them and give me output. 10 minutes, 40 seconds. I had everything I needed in spreadsheets, and it was just a matter of now slicing and dicing and sorting in the way that the information would make sense to my clients. And actually, in editing these in such a way that it would make sense to the clients took longer than collecting and processing it. And CAPE is, I mean, that's day 4. That's a big chunk of our day 4, learning about CAPE and how to use it. If there was anything in the forensics market that we could call a forensic magic button, CAPE is it.
Yeah, and I mean, I try to address the needs of most people, right? There's not going to be one tool, one tool to rule them all kind of a thing. But having the ability to look at your most common use cases, most people in most environments are going to be dealing with Windows, and you're looking at the same types of things to help you start answering those questions. Well, why do we, it didn't mean that Kevin couldn't go back and look at all of the other stuff that was in that image if he needed to, but why wait to process all that stuff when he really needed to know who was opening documents, when were they opened, what were they, did something get copied, does this file exist? We can answer those questions in minutes. So I see we have some people starting to make some comments and stuff. If you have any questions for us here, we got a little under 5 minutes left. And we want to make sure that if you have questions, we want to get them answered. So if you do have any, drop them in there. But if you haven't tried it, give it a whirl. I mean, I'm not saying you can just replace everything you've ever done with forensics, but when you have that need to get information out quickly, Kevin gave a great example. Like this is normally a 2-week process. I have 2 days. Focus on the most important things. What do you need to tell the story? Doesn't mean that you're done. It might be. It just depends on what bar you need to reach to be able to answer that question. So give it a whirl if you haven't. Most people that see it once they kick the tires a little bit really appreciate the way that it can streamline a lot of the stuff that they're doing. So.
Well, and additionally, we also, and as I was saying before, CAPE completely sidetracked me, as it often does in its capability. You see what I did there? Is that we took the acquisition side of Forensics 498 and spun it off into its own 3-day class, which is going to be going live here this summer, I think, or is it? I don't know.
It was summer or third quarter, one of those two.
Right.
You got to look at the schedule.
And it is just the acquisition portion of Forensics 498, 3 days long, just acquisition. In fact, it is so specifically just acquisition that we don't even open the images we collect. We're not analyzing anything, but it's the acquisition of RAM, Windows, Livebox, Deadbox, Apple products, cell phones, on the wire, Internet of Things. So that might be something worth checking out if you just need the acquisition skills at least early on. And when I was doing the 3MinMax, I really tried to cover a wide range of things. And we did cover a huge amount of things. I talked about things from SANS 518, our Mac forensics class. Sarah Edwards does a phenomenal job of writing and maintaining that class, and 585, and we had stuff in there from 508 and 500 and security 301, security 401, and we covered a lot of ground. And I certainly appreciate a lot of the feedback that we got on that. We even went off on tangents sometimes talking about how to fix the internet, because if anybody knows me, they know that I'm always up for a good tangent.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, even one of the last things that we added in there was Chromebook, which we had initially just as a kind of a bonus on the class Dropbox folder. Then now it's kind of rolled in when we unpack it a little bit. Not to mention, we're talking about all these tools and techniques, and some of them can be rather involved and tedious. Well, we have full-length, professionally produced, high-quality videos with Kevin actually doing the techniques and narrating through them, so that it's not just words on a piece of paper. You can see Kevin going in there and doing all these things when you have to do it, because measure twice, cut once. Seeing somebody who has done it dozens and dozens and dozens of times walk you through all the possible areas where you might run into problems just makes your job that much easier. And if we can practice when the consequences are low, well, then we don't necessarily have to worry about it as much when the real time comes, because we certainly don't want to be practicing on evidence.
And in the last update, we also significantly increased the instruction on how to do virtual environment acquisitions from vSphere. I mean, many enterprises are virtualized now, so how do we collect that evidence? But we are running short on time. We better wrap this up. Eric, any parting shots?
No, it's been fun. Quick 15 minutes. Congrats on the 200th episode that'll be coming out today. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, sir. I do want to leave you with something, as I did in the 200th episode, and I said it in the early episodes. What you do matters. Nowhere else in the forensics or computer field, quite frankly, whether it's IT security, IT administration, nowhere else are the stakes so high. You literally, every time you start an investigation, are potentially holding someone's life, someone's how their life is going to turn out in your hands. You have the power to get someone fired or not. You have the power to put someone in jail or not. Make sure you act like it. So in the meantime and in between time, that's it. We're wrapped up. Thank you so